G'day guys, how's it going? My name's Nick. This is my channel Low Range Nick, where I do videos about four driving, accessory fitting and maintenance for your four-drive vehicle. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to fit a Safari Snorkel to your Isuzu MU-X, and it's pretty similar for a D-Max as well. So I'm just going to start by popping the bonnet, getting that inner guard liner out, pulling the airbox out, so stay tuned. So what I'm going to do now guys is just pull off the electrical plugs, pull off this clamp, pop out a couple of these little clips and then get that airbox right out of the way. Just pop these 312 wheels out of the airbox. Get it out of that spot. There we go. So now it's time to pull out this inner guard liner. So I'm just in the right hand front guard there. So I'm going to have to pull off the mud flap. And I'm just going to have to pull off all the screws and little plastic rivets holding in that inner guard liner and get rid of that so I can get out this intake pipe in behind here. Now I've got that inner guard liner out, you can see up there that intake pipe. So I'm just going to have to pull that intake pipe out. So just in behind the ABS unit there's a little 10mm nut which holds the intake pipe into that guard. I've got the front nut off that intake pipe, so now the rear nut is just down there. You can just see on the top of that video, just near the intake. So I'll just get that 10mm nut off there and that intake pipe will come straight out. So the first step you need to do really is to pull out the template in the box and make sure that the template matches up with all your holes on the snorkel. So all I'm going to do is line it up as if it's stuck on the guard, so it's going to go like this. So that means the snorkel is going to lay over it like this. So then I'm just going to line up my bolt holes and just make sure that all those bolt holes do actually align with the template. And that's for the large hole, yep. So just double checking that and make sure that when you put this on the car, you're not going to drill out all your holes in your big snorkel hole and then realise that the snorkel actually fits up different to the template. So that's just one of the checks that you should really do before even starting the job. So now I know that this template matches the snorkel, we're all good to keep going. See where they're aligned there, so you can see with the top edge here, and then back here with the back edge of the guard. So now I'm just going to stick it right down, so stick it down so it's sitting really nice and flush with the guard, and then I'll mark all my holes. Now that's sitting as flush as I can get it with the guard, I'm just going to go around and mark all my holes. There you go, so all my holes are marked, so now I can just pull my template off. I'm just going to cover my tyres and just underneath the suspension and stuff, just to try and catch some of that metal swarf when it drops down. So this will just stop it from going in places I don't want it to go. That'll protect it a little bit. So this is a stepper drill, and this is what I'm going to use to drill those holes out to 16mm. So I'll drill down to this rib here, which is 16, just on all those other holes, and I'll just drill a pilot hole where I'm going to do the hole saw hole. So now I'm going to use this hole saw to drill out the hole here for the snorkel inlet. Now it says to use a 111mm hole saw, but the one I have is only 102mm. So what I'm going to do is drill that out, and then I'll just have to enlarge it a little bit with a die grinder or a biscuit wheel, just enough to fit that snorkel body through. Go. I'm just going to do a little bit of a test fit just to make sure that everything lines up correctly. You can see that sits around the body line pretty nicely. Just check underneath. So yeah, that's sitting pretty good. So now I just need to take a little bit more out of this hole just so it can go all the way in and sit really flush against this panel here. So I'll just use a die grinder and just go around a couple of times just to evenly cut that out, an extra about 5mm. So I'm just going to clean up all the holes now, take the snorkel out, and I'll deburr all these holes with a file. Now that I've deburred all these holes, I can pull off all of my sticky tape, get rid of that, and we'll just make sure that the front side of these holes are looking really nice and tidy as well. So I'll just take along this A-pillar trim here. So I can start marking out the mounts for the top snorkel mount. So now I'm just going to screw these pins into the back of the snorkel, into the holes, all the way in, and then I'll be able to test fit it to the guard and just make sure that it all lines up, and then also mark out the spot for my top mount. So now I'm just going to put this top mount onto the snorkel body. Now the tip is to put these bolts loosely into the middle position of the adjustment, because if you have it to one end and your holes don't line up properly, then you're not going to be able to get enough movement out of this mount. So put them in the middle, so when you mark your holes they should be somewhere around the middle, and then you can slightly adjust the mount on here to line up with those holes. Now I'm going to fit the snorkel back to the car. Line up all my bolts to all the holes. Give it a remove. It's going to look good. Fits really well. Fits perfectly. Really happy with that. It's in there really nice. Can you sit all flush there? I'm going to hold that in where I want it. And I'm going to mark up here. My permanent marker, where that mount's going to sit. I've just marked with a permanent marker on the back side of this bracket where it's going to sit. Now I can take the snorkel back off and mark my holes. I'm going to trace it. The permanent marker on that tape. So you've got your 3 holes that this is going to mount to. Now I'm going to drill these holes out to 8mm. So So this is the hole where the intake pipe usually goes through. So what we need to do is we need to put this template on. And we actually need to enlarge that hole a little bit bigger so we can fit that rubber intake pipe through. So I've just used the template supplied with the Safari Snorkel, and I just need to elongate that hole a little bit. So I'm just going to use a die grinder, and I'm going to die grind out that hole a little bit bigger. There you go, so I've elongated this hole out to the size of the template. Now I've just got the intake pipe, the rubber intake pipe, and I'm just going to check that it fits. So you can see that's fitting through there nice and easily, and there's a good gap around all sides, so it's not going to, rub through or anything. Now is use my file and clean up this hole a bit, so it's ready for painting. So now I've taken out my rag, got rid of all that metal swarf. I'm just going to give everything a real good air blow down and get rid of any remaining swarf or any remaining little bits of paint and stuff hanging around. Okay guys, so one of the little tips is I've got touch-up paint. So touch-up paint spray can for my car with the same colour, so it's metallic silver. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this touch-up paint to touch up all these holes and basically seal up all that bare metal, and also this hole in the inside guard here. So all these holes are all cleaned up now. They've all been touched up with the touch-up paint. And these ones up in the A-pillar as well. And also touched up the hole that I had to drill through the inside there. So the one that I had to enlarge. I'm just going to give it 5 to let that dry a little bit. Alright guys, so there's a couple of things that I need to do to the airbox. So I've just got it down here. So firstly, you need to pop this little spinner off, this pre-spinner. Now we can start modifying these parts. So we need to modify these to make them watertight, and we also need to make it so the intake pipe can fit on here. So we actually need to remove this ring around here. So I need to take this off. Get rid of the foam. We need to get rid of this whole ring here, so the intake pipe can slide onto that. We can clamp it down. So I'm going to use some side cutters just to trim it down for starters, and then I'll use a biscuit wheel just to clean it up and make it completely flat. You can see this little drain valve on the bottom of that intake pipe. See that? So it's up to the installer's discretion, it says in the instructions. But if you want this to be 100% watertight, you're going to have to seal this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pump that full of Sika and seal this to the brim so no water can get through this little drain valve. So I'll do that now. So basically what I need to do now is I need to reassemble this, but I need to make it waterproof. So I need to make this watertight. Basically I'm going to use my Sika, I'm going to fill all these gaps, all these holes, this gap in here as well with Sika, and make it 100% watertight. Now I've sealed up the intake pipe, set that aside for a minute. Now I've got to seal up the airbox. Make sure it's nice and clean. Then I'm going to seal all the way around Sika flex. Nice big bead of Sika flex all the way around on the outside. That off there. You can see that's gone all the way around on the outside. Now it's time to refit this little intake pipe. So drain valve to the bottom. Should go in like that. That in there. Should click into place. So I've just popped off the other drain bung off the bottom of the airbox. Also going to fill that one with silicone. Pop that back on. And time to fit the snorkel to the car. So I've got my bolts and my nuts. So I'll sit this down here. So you can see up there my snorkel inlet and the hole I had to elongate. So now all I'm going to do is feed this rubber joint up there, connect it, and I'm going to put it through that hole, and I'll tighten the hose clamp up on the snorkel end. So I've tightened that hose clamp there on the intake pipe, and I've fed the rest of the hose through the inner guard. Now you can see the end of that hose coming through there, so we can put the airbox in and connect that hose to the airbox. And I'm just going to put the airbox back in. Just feed this intake pipe into the snorkel attached pipe. Now I've got the airbox in, I've got the intake pipe on. Just going to tighten the hose clamp down here, put all the bolts in for the airbox, and connect all the electrical connections back up. I'll just put the inner guard liner in and finish everything off. Alright guys, so all my connections are tight, I've double checked everything, and the snorkel's all fitted. I think it looks great. The install was pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward, it's just time consuming. So I mean the fitment is awesome, it fits perfectly against the body there and all the lines. And that's one of the positives of getting a good quality snorkel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more four-wheel drive related videos and also modifications to my Isuzu MU-X. Well, thanks for watching guys. The snorkel's all fitted now and I think it looks great. It's also raised my intake, so I'm going to be getting cleaner, fresher air, and not taking as much dust on dirt roads, and also raised for the odd water crossing, so I don't get water into the intake. And guys, if you'd like to follow me on my social media, you'll be able to see updates of what I'm up to sort of day to day. You'll be able to see modifications that I'm doing to the MU-X before they hit YouTube. So if you'd like to see that, jump over to my social media pages, which is Instagram @LowRangeNick and Facebook @LowRangeNick, and you'll be able to follow me there. Cheers guys.